Let's talk about simplified productivity for people with ADHD, especially mompreneurs. My name is Catherine. I'm a thriving ADHD mom and lawyer. How can we be productive and how can we simplify that? That's the question you're probably thinking. That's why you clicked on this video. I think we have to go back to the basics of what ADHD truly is for us and the challenge we have for it. I found a very appropriate and simplified definition by Dr. Russell Barkley. He's an ADHD expert, and his book, Taking Charge of Adult ADHD, I know it's backwards, so bear with me. I'll have the link in the description below. His book actually summarized that in such a good way that I want to share with you and elaborate on that concept. Here's a simplified way to think about the challenge ADHD creates for us. The challenge ADHD creates is not about not knowing what to do, but it's about not using what you know at the exact moment. You must use what you know in your natural environment. Let me elaborate on that. So ADHD is not about not knowing what to do or the information, because we have the information. We know what to do. We've been told so many times, don't be late, plan accordingly, put this on your calendar. So we know what to do, but somehow we can't act on what we know. There's a biological reason for that structurally, which is that in simplified terms, the back part of our brain holds information and the frontal lobe holds the implementation in terms of being able to implement what we know. The information in the back of our brain just won't reach the frontal lobe for us to implement what we know. And even if when we use what we know, sometimes it's not the right time. Have you had those moments when you say something or do something and it feels awkward because everyone else think that was weird? That's not the right time or the right place to do that. I have done that so many times, even as a lawyer. Here's the thing. At the exact moment, you must use what you know in your natural environment. That's the intention. Dr. Barkley calls that the point of performance, or I call it POP, point of performance. So, but let's make it simple that that's when you intend to use what you know. Here's a different way to think about it, which is a visualization I like to use. Think of it as this. We have the information, we know what to do, but we can't get to the implementation and intention part of our brain. We need to create that bridge between the back part of our brain where there's the information and the frontal lobe where we have the implementation and the intention. So we need that bridge. I will guide you to have the skill, have the bridge for your information to your implementation and intention. The bridge, you might think, oh, it's the tools, it's the techniques, it's the hacks. Yes, those help. We need that because we need an external ADHD brain. I call that my second ADHD brain, where it's an external ADHD brain that we really need to help with our executive function. But what we truly need is when those tools, that external ADHD brain doesn't work anymore, we have to rely on our skills so that we can rebuild the bridge. The bridge is the skill. And when we're thinking about a bridge, it can be very daunting because, yes, we have this information and we have to cross the bridge, and it's scary. You might be scared of falling or failing to cross the bridge. We've had so much stigma, shame, and trauma throughout our life, being told not that you're not good enough or you're lazy or why can't you just do this? What's wrong with you? You know, I've told you this 10 times and you're still not doing it. So it seems scary to cross that and create that bridge so that we can implement what we know, especially at the exact moment we need to use it. But we have to cross that bridge by having the skills to to understand how to make our information reach the other side of that island, so to speak, the other side of that island where there's implementation and intention. That's very important for us. And what's interesting is sometimes even if we create a bridge, and I'm just letting you know, I'm sure you've realized this, our bridge sometimes breaks. It actually becomes a drawbridge because that's where the tools don't work anymore for us. How many planners have you had? How many calendars have you used? How many post-its have you bought? And somehow they don't work at a certain point. And it's okay. That's what I want to tell you. It's okay if they don't work. That's how our ADHD brain works. Sometimes the bridge allows us to cross over. Sometimes it doesn't. The drawbridge is up and we don't even realize that there's this invisible person that drew up the bridge. That's our ADHD brain drawing up that bridge because it's telling us that we have to fit the solution for a specific problem. And you might be saying, well, the problem is I'm not productive. So that's why this planner or this checklist is supposed to help me. But the thing is, your specific problem might have changed. Your circumstances might have changed. You might have a new child, a new baby, a new job, a new responsibility, a new school, a new course. You think about it, we are constantly changing. So our specific problem is constantly changing, even though it's an overarching productivity problem, but there are other factors that affect that. And that is our environment. I wanted to give this concept for you that this is not about getting tools. Yes, there will be tools, but I will give you so much more, which is skills. Skills that you can go back to and lean on when your bridge is up, so that when you need to use what you know at the exact moment, you must use what you know in your natural environment. That's why in your environment, you'll know how to do that. And remember that most systems and planning tools and organization approach have been created for neurotypical brains. And that's okay. What we need to do as ADHDers is to understand and recognize that we need to create our own owner's manual for our ADHD brains. What's interesting is when I read the book, The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek, I realized that throughout my ADHD journey, when I was diagnosed over 20 years ago, and even before that, when I was undiagnosed as a child, because I was diagnosed after college, I have been creating my own game with my own rules, but I'm understanding the neurotypical rules and modifying that to my ADHD brains. So that's what I'm going to share with you is the skills I learned for that, not necessarily the tools. Again, the tools will break. Just have that as your baseline and it's okay. It's part of our ADHD. But what's important is that we have the skill to create our own game, our own rules with our own owner's manual. I'll see you in the next video.